Well, good morning and welcome to the show. Jeff Beals at your service. Thank you for joining us. This is the only show you're going to find in the metro area that talks about business expansion, construction, real estate development, really exciting topics related to your favorite city becoming bigger, more prosperous, and more vibrant. Thank you to Dingman's Collision Center for being the sponsor of today's show. You can find them at four metro area locations. And now, without any further ado, the moment you've all been waiting for about 30 seconds, it's time to introduce my co-host, a man who is a legendary real estate deal maker, Trenton Magid.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Jeff, I think you should add deal maker and all-around nice guy.
All-around nice guy. I thought you were going to say something about being handsome and witty.
That's a given.
Clever and all those sorts of things.
So when it comes to our friends at Dingman's, I have a feeling their parking lots are pretty busy today. Oh, yeah. So there are 4 locations. In the unlikely event, and hopefully you don't get in an accident, just remember their name because they're good people. They also do mechanical work on 120th and West Maple Road. However, you can, if you should get in an accident, you tell that tow truck driver to take it to Dingman's. You take it over there. You put your, I know this from experience, everybody on our show thinks that I get in a lot of accidents. Not true.
Lately you have.
You take your keys, you put it in an envelope, you put your name on it, you put it in the drop box, and then you call for your estimate. So, it is a beautiful white morning.
That is right, and it's a beautiful day to talk about our latest Grow Omaha Eats restaurant review, which is written, as always, by Sarah Baker Hansen, the premier food critic in the state of Nebraska. And she writes Grow Omaha restaurant reviews for us regularly. This week it is Tupelo Honey, which is the new Southern Comfort style food restaurant based in Asheville, North Carolina, about 20 locations around the country. It opened a few months ago in the Mercantile, more specifically the Brickline building. The Mercantile is the development, the mixed-use development southeast of 10th and Farnham on the northern portion of the Conagra campus. And Tupelo, if you want to learn about it, just read the review. And you can find out all of these reviews, read all of these reviews simply by going to growomaha.com and clicking on Eats, E-A-T-S, on the navigation bar.
And that is brought to you by Cheer Athletics, the foremost cheerleading, tumbling, and great organization, great company. Build confidence in your children's future. And they are about a 31,000 square foot international award-winning franchise out of Texas. So check out Cheer Athletics Omaha, and we appreciate their sponsorship of the Sarah Baker Hansen Grow Omaha reviews.
Yeah, owned by our good friends Craig and Tiffany Wolf. Well, Trenton, let's go into our news of the week, and a lot of things to talk about as always. The news is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage. Holly Schneiderwind and her team at Eagle Mortgage do an outstanding job. Doesn't matter if you want to get the conventional loan or if you're looking more like FHA, VA, a couple others that they do. But the main thing to know about Eagle Mortgage, other than the fact that they have very strong customer service, is that they are mortgage brokers, meaning they are not beholden to one bank, which means that they can shop the market and find the best lender for you. Get to know you, your unique situation, find the best lender for you. You can meet them in person at 114th and Davenport or online at eaglemortgagecompany.com. Well, we've got a few little construction things to talk about. First of all, the 37 West Farnham Street is entering a new phase of its construction. It's a 9-story mixed-use building, and the elevator and shafts and stairwell towers are going in. This building's unique in that the first floor will be retail, and then floors 2 through 4 will be a city-owned parking garage open to the public. But it's all part of one building, so it's all being fused together. It's been taking a long time because the bottom 4 floors all had to be poured concrete because of the parking garage component. And now it looks like the construction is going to accelerate for the 5 floors on top that will be multifamily. And then also a construction thing that we wanted to mention, the Baby Bob Bridge coming along nicely. And if you haven't seen it, both the Baby Bob Bridge construction photos and the 37 West Farnham construction photos are on our Grow Omaha Facebook page. Brad Williams, our official photographer, has got some really nice shots of those as well. So Trenton, we've got some development coming to the North Omaha quadrant, and this is really kind of cool. We've been hearing things for the last couple of years about possibly having a major industrial park located close to Eppley International Airport. Well, we're getting there. In fact, the state of Nebraska awarded just under $90 million in economic recovery money to a partnership led by North Omaha-based Omaha Economic Development Corporation to build a business park near the airport. Specifically, it'll be located on the north side of Carter Lake, Levi Carter Park. And then as part of the deal, the state will also give $35 million from another pot of federal economic recovery funds to the city to help build a community center and sports complex in that part of Levi Carter Park. But this is great because we want to get more jobs, more development in the Northeast quarter, and it's also good to have this close to the airport.
That's a lot of cheddar, Jeff, and there are some private projects there as well. There's a large industrial building that has been planned for a long time and is going up with Century Development. And so that's exciting as well. But I think when it comes to these public-private partnerships, and especially when you're using government money and the people's tax dollars, that it has to do with the design, but it also has to do with how well they're run. And I welcome this project because it will employ a lot of jobs, and it's close to the airport, which is nice. It's close to the infrastructure, meaning the highways and interstates. And let's see what it comes to. Do they talk at all about the size of it or the types of industrial buildings?
Yeah, and the size, I don't remember the number of acres offhand, but sizable that will make a dent in Northeast Omaha. And we're talking a lot of classic industrial and industrial flex type buildings. So these are buildings that would bring jobs to the area. The other thing is, industrial ground is at a premium in the metro area because if you think about it, most of the industrial development is along Interstate 80 in Sarpy County. Well, there's limitations currently as to where the sanitary sewers go in Sarpy County. And of course, it's very hilly out there. So there's a lot of grading that is involved. This is a nice flat site, and it's located, as you mentioned, all around that existing infrastructure, which I think is huge.
We're still really tight on industrial space. I had a broker call me and ask if there's any space at one of our properties, which was all full up, and he wanted 50,000 square feet for his client, and really just docks with or without drives, and just simple cube space, and it is so short of supply. Council Bluffs is filling up. Even the Northwest quadrant, where was it 114th and State, or where Google's building,
where the Northwest Google campus is,
yeah. And so, even to find space, you've got land out there, but it takes a year or two to get these sites ready and open for more space.
Well, shifting gears a little bit, looking a lot further west, several development projects are underway in Ashland. Construction has started on the Oxbow Crossing development at Highway 6 and Silver Street. This will have a healthcare facility, a Runza restaurant, and Ruhlman's Steakhouse. And then work is also underway on the Ashland Brewing Company entertainment destination south of U.S. Highway 6 and Nebraska Highway 66. So, Ashland's a pretty small community. Those are a couple of really nice commercial development projects in the area. I've got a feeling you're going to really see that area pop. As Gretna becomes bigger and bigger, a lot of these people who have one member of the household who works in Omaha and the other one in Lincoln, some of those people might be looking even more to Ashland these days, whereas a lot of them had typically been in Gretna. Ashland, of course, is more in the middle, or a little closer to the middle at least.
Yeah, and even the city of Gretna announced that they're buying 35 acres, which is close to Gretna Crossing. I think it's a contiguous, and there's talk about them moving their offices there, and we shall see. But this is along Highway 31, and that was in play. A lot of desire from private developers to do apartments and different things there. So we'll see how that area develops. But Gretna is unbelievable. I don't know why Fleet Farm is taking so long. They own 2 sites. They own a big site, and Fleet Farm is if you take Menards, you take Tractor Supply Company and some other things, and you mash them together. So that'll be a neat addition to the retail environment.
And that is your news of the week, brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com. Going to take a break for just a couple of minutes. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about the Housing Foundation of Sarpy County. We have got with us a couple of people that we'll introduce to you right after the break, but you're listening to Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid on Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid at your service, broadcasting live from the KFAB Penthouse Studios high above Underwood Avenue. We are brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center for metro area locations. And we've got with us in the studio right now one of our colleagues from NAI NP Dodge. Brian Thomas is with us. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning, everybody.
Good to have you back. A lot of people remember you because you periodically will guest co-host.
Oh, yeah.
When one of us is vacationing or slacking or anything like that. We always appreciate that.
By one of us, you mean Trenton.
By Trenton, yeah.
Let's just go ahead and get on the record for that.
I'm a professional slacker, ladies and gentlemen.
Anyway, in addition to his work as a commercial real estate broker, our friend Brian is also Director of Workforce Housing Initiatives with the Housing Foundation of Sarpy County. And we have with us Carolyn Pospisil. She is the Executive Director of the Housing Foundation of Sarpy County. Good morning, Carolyn.
Good morning, guys. Thank you very much for having me on.
Absolutely. And thank you for joining us. And I'm going to start, and you two can just decide who answers what. But first of all, give us the 30,000-foot view of the Housing Foundation of Sarpy County. What exactly is it?
As an overarching, we are the foundation, hopefully, for Sarpy County for development. At this point, we do 3 major things. We develop, and so we're doing some of our own development and within the workforce and with some low-income housing possibilities. Then we also advocate. We've made partnerships at the state, local levels in regards to affordable housing and working on things in that direction and bills that can work towards making that an easier thing to do. And then we partner, and this is our biggest. We do partner with other developers that have come to Sarpy County. We want to get as many people to do affordable housing and workforce housing in Sarpy County as we can. At this point, we've had some big successes, and having those partnerships has been the key to that.
So you concentrate on workforce housing, meaning housing for employees, I assume. Do you coordinate with the cities within Sarpy County?
Oh, we sure do. Right now, the focus that we have is on Bellevue. We have the CDBG, or Community Development Block Grant, has assisted in us having Brian, having him on board, and so we can focus on Bellevue, but as Sarpy County as a greater whole. We do have partnerships with the city, or with Bellevue, and then with Papillion. La Vista is great about having their own development and focus on what they need to have. We haven't done as much in Gretna, but we look forward to being able to do that in the future.
Brian, what kind of housing stock do you concentrate on, and does the organization concentrate on? Is it apartments, single family, row houses, or what?
Yeah, so let me answer that in just a minute. And I think for the listening audience, the reason that I personally got involved in this is because the creation of workforce housing is really an imperative to economic development and economic growth. So looking at the existing housing stock, most of the developments that are going on in Sarpy County and the metro have all been, planned unit developments. Many of them have starting price points of $375,000 and above, and that's just not, from a business and economic development, that's not sustainable for growth in our area. We have to increase the stock in homes that are in the 200 to 250 range for primarily two groups of people. Senior citizens who are looking to downsize their homes and they don't want to go into one of the fantastic facilities like Hillcrest and some of these others. They want to still live independently.
They're more active.
Yeah, and secondarily, young professionals. Here, in the state of Nebraska, we want to retain talented young professionals. We do not want them to move out of state into other areas, but we can't ask a young 20-something-year-old college graduate to jump into a $400,000 mortgage.
Okay, so what kind of housing stock are we talking about then?
So what we're talking about are homes that are duplexes, triplexes, row homes, townhomes, smaller single-family residences. I'm sure all of us here that have a little bit of gray hair and gray beard would remember that most of us did not jump into a house that was 2,600 square feet. Most of us began at homes that were somewhere closer to maybe 1,000 to 1,200.
Are these rental or purchase?
They're for both.
So are you guys advocating the construction of smaller lot housing, smaller dwelling units, duplexes, triplexes, those sorts of things, condos? And if so, is there something that needs to happen to make those types of building projects more palatable for developers? Because I keep hearing from home builders that you can't build an expensive house anymore.
Well, so I'm going to turn this over to Carolyn because we began this workforce housing initiative. We really picked it up in September. And just in September, we've already had several successes working with Nebraska DED, our foundation, and the city. So, Carolyn, I'll let you talk about some of the successes we've had.
Well, we've had quite a bit in the senior area. We have properties that have gone in Bellevue as Cardinal Commons, and those would be villa-style units. And then we have, sorry about that. And then we have Deer Creek, which is a family property. Those are available in Bellevue as well. Founders Ridge is out in Papillion. And that property is a tax credit property that's been able to do some work at the workforce level housing. And then we also have a brand new development that's going in at 72nd and Capehart. That is a development with Hoppy development out of Lincoln. And they are doing a mixed income, mixed use community. And that'll provide will provide units both at the affordable and workforce level. Those workforce housing and what we have within our own organization is 11 townhomes that are going up, and those will be at the workforce level. So those homes will be around $250,000 when they sell. And then there's also partnerships in that same area with Habitat for Humanity, and they'll be doing some units, and then Hoppy themselves will be doing units as well.
Carol,
we also have.
Go ahead.
And then that's good. And then Cardinal Commons and Founders Ridge have been senior Deer Creek's family, and then a significant amount of stuff that's going in for Hoppy. We also just recently received a grant to do single-family homes, and those will be done 13 units at a time, and we expect those to sell for the $225,000 range. And those partnerships have just recently been funded, so hopefully we can get those moving as fast as possible.
Sounds good. Explain how the incentives work and how the developers benefit as well as the buyers or tenants.
Well, with development, with what we are able to partner with is to help navigate those grants that are out there and make sure that we're on top of what is available.
Is it coming from the state, the federal government, the city?
Those are coming from different directions. The federal government has provided funds through community development block block grant, most recently through disaster recovery. Those are units that will replace the 399 units that were lost during the flood. And we'll, hopefully with those disaster recovery funds, we can take a bite out of that.
Okay.
At the state level,
Go ahead.
At the state level, those are administered by the Department of Economic Development.
Okay. Hey, we've got just a few seconds left. What would you guys like to leave us with as the foundation continues on into the next year or so?
Yeah, so our next big push, honestly, is continued education and advocacy. There are some big conferences that are coming up in the spring that I'm going to be providing keynote addresses. One of them is hosted by Mike Flood out in Columbus. It's talking specifically about workforce housing and how we can increase the stock in Sarpy and Cass County. We also have the American Association of Home Planning that's going to be in La Vista at Southport that's going to happen in March. And so we're delivering a keynote address on all the different collaborative and innovative approaches that we're trying to tackle, some of which you just heard Carolyn outline. But this really takes a community approach to get after trying to provide these. It can't all be just state and federal funding. Private industry is going to have a part in this, and we're going to talk about some of that in the spring.
Okay, well, Carolyn and Brian, we appreciate you joining us. Brian, we're actually going to have stick around in the studio because he's going to help us with something we're going to be talking about in the next segment. But Carolyn, appreciate you joining us, and continued success at the Housing Foundation of Sarpy County.
Thank you.
It's Carolyn Pospisil from the foundation. We're going to take our middle of the show break for the news and the weather. And when we come back, Trenton and Brian and I are going to be talking about a big major development that has a cybersecurity component to it in Bellevue. We'll also be talking about possibly Nebraska as a respected place to work, and perhaps some other topics. So stay with us. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center. Jeff Beals and Trenton Maggot will be back after this on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Maggot at your service. Show's brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center. And right now we have our commercial real estate development spotlight of the week, which is brought to you by Noddle Companies. Noddle Companies is really growing Omaha. And you can talk about headquarters buildings. That's one of the things that Noddle Companies is famous for. Recently, Valmont, which is located near 144th and West Dodge Road, the HDR Global Headquarters building in Exarban Village. That's the one. It's a 10-story building right there in Exarban Village, and it has a lot of real cool retailers on the ground level. Another headquarters.
Interrail.
And that's right there. And then another headquarters project building they've done recently was a little construction company known by Kiewit.
Also a Fortune 500 company.
Yep.
And they also, Noddle did the Kiewit University next door.
Yep.
Yeah.
So and then they're building out the Builders District, which is cool.
Yeah, the J Noddle's doing some amazing things with this company over there.
We're going to keep an eye on the Builders District because last week we talked a little bit about the grading and site preparation and ground level work for this amenities park. They're going to put an amenities park in the Builders District that's going to be somewhat similar to the outdoor amenities we have at Exarban Village. And then I'm talking about the area where they have the Sunny's Airstream, and they've got the meeting spaces and the turf there and the dog park and all that sort of thing. But we keep hearing that we might be on the approaching some announcements in that north downtown area of some cool projects that could be happening.
For our older listeners, I think it'd be really cool. I don't think we'll see it, but if they did a lazy river as a tribute to the late great Lormung Low.
Oh, yeah.
I think he was acting mayor for a few days, and he was on the city council. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that very clearly.
It was going to be a Riverwalk, wasn't it?
Yeah, and Brian Thomas, who's with us from NAINP Dodge, our colleague over there. You weren't in Omaha in these days, but Hal Daub was mayor. Lormung Low, the late Lormung Low, was a city councilman who was acting mayor while Hal was out of town, and he tried to do some like San Antonio Riverwalk thing that wasn't going to start somewhere up by Carter Lake and go downtown or something crazy like that.
It was definitely a water feature and like a giant trench or something like that.
Spoiler alert, it never happened.
And it's probably not going to be in the pocket park that Noddle's developing.
Who here remembers Lormong Lowe's campaign jingle?
Jeff Beals.
Lormong Low. For city council, vote for Lormong Low. For city council, you did it once before. Do it once again. Vote for Low, 'cause with your help, Lormong can win again.
Okay, and so while we're on the subject, as part of the Noddle Development Spotlight, how about the Richard Takechi jingle?
Richard Takechi, for your Douglas County Register of Deeds. Richard, I'm pretty good.
Yeah. So,
and that's your Noddle Company's commercial.
So somewhere on I-80, Dingman Collision just got a new case.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because someone literally drove into
You're welcome,
a snowbank
Travis and Andy.
when they just heard that.
And that is your Noddle Companies report for today. Thank you. You can learn out more about Noddle Companies simply by going to noddlecompanies.com and Noddle Companies Facebook page. And within the Noddle Companies portfolio, one of their most active Facebook pages would be Exarban Village. And you can get all sorts of announcements about projects and activities and events that are going on at Exarban Village there.
Can I say something real quick?
Sure.
You can also catch the Grow Omaha Barbershop Trio singing at Dundee Dell.
Yeah.
And then we will promptly get some of the best fish and chips.
Unfortunately, Dundee Dell doesn't know about this yet.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I know this is a stretch, but Jeff was a thespian at Westside High School, class 87, and he was in a lot of theater productions, and also like at Marion or Duchesne, right?
Yeah, thank you. I feel like this is Jeff's life going back 30-some years. So let's talk a little bit about the Innovation Hub planned for Bellevue. And Brian, we asked you to stick around for this because you know Sarpy County pretty well, but you're former command chief at Offutt Air Force Base, and so you keep up with what's going on in and around the base. And we've been talking about for the last couple of years about this idea of the NC3 project that has been talked about, planned outside the fences of the base, but close by. And Nebraska Examiner had a really nice article this week about a development called Prairie Hill Farm. This is going to be 45 acres on the northeast corner of the Highway 75, Highway 34 interchange. And eventually this could be a $600 million project because there's a whole bunch of mixed-use components planned for it. But the focal point will be a 200,000 square foot innovation and collaboration research facility known as the REACH building. And in that building, we're talking about super secure cybersecurity activity taking place. What can you do, Brian, to kind of give us an idea about what could happen here, and what the Department of Defense and these private partners have in mind for this facility, and what exactly is NC3?
Yep. So for the listening audience, NC3 is nuclear command, control, and communication. So that's where the three come from. And honestly, this is something that's long overdue. I'm really excited that the 4-star commander of Strategic Command, our Secretary of Defense, and then the President have really put a big push financially along with the state of Nebraska in trying to upgrade our NC3 capabilities, because many of the technologies that we use to control our nation's nuclear forces harken back all the way to 1940 and 1950s technology.
Yeah, I'd say we're due.
I would say we're due. Now, this project, it's been seeded with a $20 million allocation from the state legislature back in 2022.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily sound like ground's going to be breaking immediately.
No.
But it's hopefully not too far off.
Well, some of it, if you'll remember back on October 7th when we did an interview with Mayor Hike, he talked a lot about some infrastructure projects that have to happen first, where we have to connect some of the wastewater treatment, sewage line and things like that. But I will tell you this, it is going to be an economic boon for the state of Nebraska, because quite honestly, the work that is going to be done from a private-public partnership with academia, with private industry and with the U.S. Department of Defense is going to really push the boundaries in a great way of revolutionizing how we do NC3 for this country and how we protect it from cybersecurity threats from namely China, but also from Russia and some other nation-state actors.
A related topic, Brian, a person could make an argument that we're going back in, and maybe we already are, in a Cold War type environment now because Russia and China are causing a lot more problems than they have in recent years. We keep hearing about this great power competition. And of course, we've been dealing with a war in Eastern Europe for a couple of years now. And now we've got the war in Israel, in the Middle East. It seems to me that one of the I guess you could call it a good thing to come out of all of this trouble and all of these tragedies is that you could really see, I could envision a situation where a lot of the stuff in and around Offutt Air Force Base is beefed up out of necessity these days, or in the coming few years.
Yeah, I mean, really, honestly, the greatest threat is from China. That is when we think about we used to say near peer, but they are really a peer competitor. And going back to President Trump and the work that he did to impose trade restrictions and really begin to clamp down on China, it's because of the widespread theft of our intellectual properties. We are the most innovative country in this world. There's absolutely no reason that we should be giving any of our competitors any of our trade secrets, trademarks, and technology. And really the work, especially with control of nuclear forces, it's an imperative. We cannot allow that to occur.
I don't think we're intentionally giving anything. I think they're just taking.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Well, Brian, appreciate you joining us today, and for both the Housing Foundation of Sarpy County talk and this NC3 stuff. So appreciate you joining us.
Thanks, guys.
That's our colleague Brian Thomas from NAI in Dodge. Going to take our final break of the hour, and when we come back, we'll have just a few minutes for the Turner Construction Lightning Round. A lot of things on the list that you want to see. You're listening to Jeff and Trenton on Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center on News Radio 1110 KFAB. Wear your seatbelt, Gary. That's what you need to know. This is Grow Omaha. We're back on the air, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Turner Construction, because now it's time for your Turner Construction Lightning Round. Got a lot of things to talk about in just a couple of minutes. We want to thank Turner for making this possible. You know, it's interesting, when Brian from NAI and Dodge was on here, we were talking about the base, and right now Turner Construction is doing big projects at Offutt Air Force Base, literally building America's defense capabilities because there were so many buildings that were damaged during the 2019 flood. And when we're talking about secure buildings that house specialized missions, it's no easy build, and you need a company like Turner. But guess what? They don't only do things like stuff that keeps America safe and free and independent. They also do your project, even your small and medium-sized projects. You won't find a better contractor than Turner when it comes to quality of work, getting things done on time and on budget, and having a staff that truly cares about their clients and truly cares about the Omaha and Nebraska business communities. Turner Construction, sponsor of the Lightning Round. Trent, we've got a new entertainment option coming to town called Folding Warehouse. Not bowling, Folding Warehouse. What is folding?
Folding is a play on bowling, but what it is, you take a football and you've got many lanes set up. I assume they have to set up their own pins, but basically you and your friends, you throw footballs at bowling pins set up the same way as a regular bowling alley. They have drinks, and I think they're going to have food, aren't they?
Yeah, I can't wait to try it because I think I'm going to be a lot.
This is North 90th. What's the address?
5585 North 90th Street. The interior construction is underway right now. Personally, I think I'm going to be a lot better at this than I am in bowling because I don't have to worry about gutter balls. And this company, Folding Warehouse, is a chain. There are 7 locations in Michigan, Ohio, Texas, Indiana, and Georgia. There's one under development in Kansas City, and of course, the one here in Omaha. 3 restaurants have signed leases at Blackstone Square. This is a newly constructed commercial building in the Blackstone District. At 3863 Farnham Street, the yet-to-be-announced restaurants include a full-service sit-down place, a breakfast and lunch restaurant, and a place known for late-night snacks. One small space in the building still remains.
Supposedly nobody cooks at home anymore.
I think they were this weekend. The former Over Easy restaurant space at 168th and Q is going to become Hyde's Slides Burgers and Fries. Hyde's Slides Burgers and Fries.
It flies.
Used to be, or still is, a food truck. They also have an existing location inside the Grover Inn at 3505 South 42nd Street. But this is, as the name would indicate, a burger and fries type place. Barbecue Brothers recently opened at 321 Comanche Street in Council Bluffs. They also operate a food truck. Now they are in the bricks and mortar business. Trenton World Liquor has opened on the southwest corner of 156th and State Street.
Absolutely. And I've got a lot right over there. Great retail lot if anybody's interested in being over there. I heard Papa John's is coming to the area. There's Makovica has a space over there, and that area is actually really building up. I got a great idea. Let's do portable pickleball trucks.
Okay, there you go. And also in that same area, Trenton, by World Liquor is Hey J Coffee. Will be coming, I think, later this spring or something like that in a strip center a little bit to the south. Arctic Spa is a new franchise that will be moving into the former Stereo West space at 203rd and Veterans Drive in Elkhorn. And the company is going to be opening in February. They do hot tubs and related items. And this is kind of an interesting story. You'll remember, maybe a couple months ago, we told you that Come and Go, the chain of convenience stores based in Des Moines, was purchased by Maverick, a chain from Utah. And we talked about whether the name was going to change or anything like that. And the name is going to change. No more Come and Go. They're all going to be converted over to Maverick. And I was reading an article about it, and there was a quote in the article from someone at Maverick said, "I think there was concern about an inadvertent double entendre with the name." You're joking. And with that, your Turner Construction Lightning Round is done, and so is the show. I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Maggot.
You've been listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding, and also Turner Construction. We'll chat with you next week at 9 o'clock right here on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.